Most people have completely given up on the Ohio State Buckeyes and are fully hitting the panic button, but I'm not ready to do so just quite yet. And I believe that Ryan Day and Ohio State are going to shock a lot of people in the college football playoff. Now, we all know what happened in the game. Ohio State had lost 3 straight games against Michigan, and this was finally time for Ryan Day to exercise these demons. No more Jim Harbaugh, the $20 million roster. Michigan didn't have its top 2 players, and they seemingly didn't have a quarterback in Davis Warren who was playing. And you really felt like this was the golden opportunity for Ohio State to finally get this monkey off their back and beat Michigan and feel really great heading into the Big Ten championship with a date with Oregon to try and grab the #1 overall seed in the college football playoff. But we all know what would happen. Will Howard would have some costly turnovers. This defense would not be able to stop the run in the fourth quarter, and Michigan pulled out one of the biggest upsets I've ever seen. Monumental game, and Ohio State would ultimately be booted out of the Big Ten championship, and the rumors started up again. Should Ryan Day be fired? What do they need to do? The $20 million roster didn't work. We've given this guy 4 straight years, 4 straight losses, and it's been really loud in Columbus, and they've had a lot to chew on over the past few weeks. But I ultimately believe this is going to fuel and drive this team to get back to where they need to be. And I think people are quick to forget about what this Ohio State team has done this season. They're in one of the toughest conferences in all of football in the Big Ten, and they've looked really dang impressive outside of that Michigan loss. You can go throughout their schedule. The only big-time loss here is that Michigan loss, but against Oregon, they went on the road in Autzen Stadium and only lost by 1 point. And if Will Howard doesn't get the ball out of bounds or go down too early, they're potentially in field goal range for a shot at winning this. If Jeremiah Smith doesn't have that late offensive pass interference, they're also easily in field goal range. So that game could go either way, not to mention they were on the road and played one heck of a ball game. And then you look at a few weeks later, they bounced back by going on the road in Penn State, one of the toughest environments to play in all of college football, and pulled off a massive win. I believe they started down 10-0 to start the game in the first quarter. Will Howard had some big time turnovers, but they were able to pull it out in that tough environment and grab a first top 10 win of the year. And then a few weeks later, you have everybody really excited about this Indiana team, and they're coming into the Horseshoe, and Kurt Cignetti is talking a lot of trash, and Ryan Day and this team handled the Hoosiers with ease. They started down 7-0, faced some adversity in the first quarter, but would come around to beat them by 23 points. And then you look at that Michigan game. In rivalry games, you can throw out statistics, records, superstars, anything, because at the end of the day, this is one of the most big-time rivalries in all of college football. And we saw that the superstar players, the $20 million roster, we saw that all of that can be thrown out the window in rivalry games like that, and that's why we love college football so much. But when I look at Ohio State's schedule, the entirety, you have that bad loss to Michigan, and then you have the 1-point loss to Oregon, but you have 2 top 5 wins, one on the road against Penn State, one at home against Indiana, and I think this Ohio State team, without a doubt, deserved to be in the college football playoff, and I think they've proven that they can win some big time games. And you can look at this team on both sides of the ball, because this roster is absolutely stacked. We know that they had championship aspirations last year that ultimately fell short, and a lot of guys on the defensive end decided to come back and say that this is the year we want to go out there and win a national championship, and they were very active in the portal as well. We know that they went out and got Will Howard, one of the most coveted quarterbacks in college football. They got him out of Kansas State. They also went and paired Travion Henderson with Quinshaw Judkins. We know that they have this phenom true freshman wide receiver in Jeremiah Smith who's been lighting it up. And you have Chip Kelly also, who ends up stepping down from UCLA and comes over to be the offensive coordinator of this team. And you just felt like it was a perfect collection of everything coming together to try and win a national championship. And this defense has been unbelievable this year. So far, they lead the nation in opponent points per game at just under 11, opponent yards per game at 240, and this defense has just really been incredible also when their heels are against their own goal line. Opponent red zone scoring percentage leads the nation, and I remember in that Penn State game, they were put at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, And they had 4 straight plays and held Penn State out of the end zone. And this is just one of the best defenses in the country, if not the best defense. And that's where I'm so confident that if this offense can just be a little bit more consistent, specifically from their quarterback, Will Howard, this team without a doubt can win the national championship. And that's where I think people are quick to forget about this team. They want to laugh about the Michigan loss. They want to laugh at Ryan Day for what he's done over the last 4 years. Because at the end of the day, when you're coaching at Ohio State, only 2 things matter, and that is winning national championships and beating Michigan. And yes, it's true. Ryan Day has not done that, but he's had a tremendous season otherwise, 2 top 5 wins, and now he's going to get a home playoff game against Tennessee, but he's got to tighten up the offense. We look at this fantastic running back tandem between Travion Henderson and Quinshaw Judkins, who are the best running back duo in all of college football. And we look at the weapons that Will Howard has on the outside. This freshman phenom that I was talking so much about coming into this year, Jeremiah Smith, 18 years old, 934 yards, 10 touchdowns, leading the team in yards and touchdowns at only 18 years old. And then we look at Emeka Egbuka, a guy who was mocked to go in the first or second round of last year's draft, and he decided to come back, and he's also been tremendous as well for this Ohio State offense. But like I said, it's all going to come down to what Will Howard can do. We know that he is one of the best quarterbacks in college football when he's playing his game. He has a cannon of an arm. He's freakishly athletic, and he can make plays outside of the pocket, inside of the pocket, and with his legs and run over defenders. And that's where people get so excited about him. But he also has that tendency where he turns the football over and can be careless with it. We saw in that Penn State game, he had some big time turnovers that almost cost this team. In the Michigan game, he did have turnovers that cost this team, and he's going to have to avoid those at all costs. He needs to be more like Josh Allen, honestly. I think Will Howard is a perfect comp for Josh Allen. 2 guys that always turned the ball over early on in their career, both 6'4", 6'5", can run the ball at a high level, cannons of arms. But Will Howard's going to need to hone in and really not turn the ball over if this Ohio State team is going to go on and win a national championship, which I absolutely believe they're capable of doing so. This defense is the best in the country. This offense, one of the best in the nation. And when you combine this fire that's going to be in this team's belly from these last few weeks of hearing all of the criticism, all of the negativity from everybody in the media, everybody potentially in Columbus after that embarrassing loss, I think this is the perfect thing for this Ohio State team to lead them into the college football playoff. And early on, we see that this team is a 7-point favorite. And I think that truly shows the respect that Ohio State is getting from the sports books and the people that are setting these lines. But at the end of the day, for Ohio State, they win this game if they shut down Dylan Sampson in this elite run game from Tennessee. Nico I is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but he's young. He's going to be going on the road for the biggest game in his entire career. And we know how much pressure running back Dylan Sampson takes off of him. This team has the 5th most rushes in all of college football, and they do so at a very high level, the 10th most rushing yards in the nation as well. And this Ohio State team, I think, is perfectly built to slow down the run, but this is going to be a physical, gritty game in Columbus. And this Tennessee defense is no joke as well. We know the dangerous pass rushers that they have on the outside. So Will Howard, if he can protect the football and this defense can shut down the run, I absolutely believe Ohio State wins this game, moves on for a rematch date against Oregon, where I think they can shock a lot of people and absolutely pull off this win. And we know what happens. Oregon is the #1 team in the entire tournament. If they knock off Oregon, I think Ohio State can without a doubt go on and still win the national championship, and people are giving up on them way too fast. I'm Caden Kubler, and thanks for watching.